Hi guys, it's me, Bob, aka the Game OverThinker. This episode, yes, should have been out a week or two ago. It's late, I'm sorry. Things got very busy in the aftermath of SGC, and I was taking care of the rollout of my new book, Super Mario Bros. 3 Brick by Brick. Do you have your copy yet? Because I think you'd like it. It's a novelized Let's Play and a history of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, wherein I play through the entire game of Super Mario Bros. 3. Every single level, every single world, every single enemy, analyzed step by step for aesthetic criticism. I really think you'll enjoy it if you like classic games, but yeah, taking care of the promotion on this guy is the reason why this episode is a little on the overdue side. I'm sorry, and I hope you enjoy it. You can buy this from fangamer.net, by the way. Commissioner? What the fuck is Cobalt Core doing in my house?
This is Senator Joseph Lieberson speaking. I've loaned my personal security detail to the police for the purposes of serving a warrant for the immediate arrest of the Retro Thinker, whom we now have learned is the true identity of the fugitive known as Necro Thinker. I would advise you not to resist.
Quit your shoving, go! Don't worry, Retro Thinker, I am all over this.
Ahem.
Ivan the intern is right on top of this. Ivan, call my lawyer, call my bail guy, call for a sandwich, then call for the other kind of sandwich because I am stressed the fuck out. And as for you, Commissioner Bunnyface...
It's Buonifacio. And don't you presume to get self-righteous on me, kid. You knew Retro Thinker was the guy we were looking for. The guy who nearly destroyed this entire city, almost the entire world.
But he got better! The Necro Thinker persona was completely dormant. The only reason he reactivated was to help us beat the Robo Thinker, which we did, by the way.
You aided and abetted a wanted fugitive. You're lucky we didn't arrest you too. I probably still should, but you did save our asses a whole bunch of time, so that buys a reprieve. At least for now.
You're right. I fucked up bad. I just thought...
Stop talking, kid. This is all admissible now. You want to help your boy out? You want to help me help you? Shut up.
So what now?
They're gonna have to hold Retro Thinker at a Cobalt Core Black site until we can determine whether or not the Necro Thinker personality really has been expurgated. After that, I don't know.
And us?
House arrest. Cobalt Core Trooper on your door 24/7 until further notice. It's the way it's gotta be.
What do I do till then?
How about your job?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, because there's so much to talk about in gaming right now with E3 over, but the PS4 and Xbox not due out for another 4 to 5 months. Oh, wait. Earthbound is finally on Virtual Console. Maybe we could do another think piece about whether Generation Y appreciates classic games. Those haven't been done to death. I mean, shit. The only thing more played out than that would be to do another show about ludonarrative dissonance.
You should do that.
No.
I want to hear about ludonarrative. That sounds interesting.
It's really not. And even if it was at one point, by now it's just some shit that every damn game journalist just has to puff off and do their obligatory major thesis on. It's beat to death and it's fucking tiresome.
Wow, I didn't realize that many people were doing shows about the narrative complications of the big Yeti guy from Labyrinth.
What?
You know, Ludo, the big Sasquatch-looking guy in Labyrinth. Are we talking about a different Ludo?
Yes, we are.
You realize this means we're now obligated to explain this to him, right?
Yes.
Should I?
Yes, Ivan, roll the credits. Ludonarrative is a made-up word, technically a portmanteau of ludology and narrative that refers to the player's effect on the storyline progress of a given video game, originating from an assumption that using big fake words that kinda sorta sound Greek or Latin would make academic game studies sound important and smart faster than actually coming up with anything smart or important to say about it. The basic idea is that because video games that choose to have a story are still interactive on one level or another, there needed to be a separate space for the discussion of the narrative as experienced and or controlled by the player, separate from the embedded narrative that doesn't change because it's the basis of the game itself. I'm not really 100% sure I buy into that, but I guess the separation allows for some more specific analysis. In any case, to put this in the simplest possible terms, embedded narrative is Dr. Wily is up to his old tricks again. Ludonarrative would be the order in which you play through the Robot Masters. Ludonarrative dissonance, then, is meant to describe instances where inconsistencies between what you're either doing or being made to do as a player conflicts with or contradicts what the story or even mood of the embedded narrative is supposed to be about. For example, if the game keeps insisting that your character is the most badass warrior on the planet, but they keep bumping into walls and jumping into bottomless pits because you are, well, you as opposed to an actual badass warrior, or in the most recent Tomb Raider game, where the cutscenes and the voiceover keeps insisting that Lara is young, inexperienced, and learning her skills on the fly, but if you'd played one game like that beforehand, you've probably already killed like 30 to 40 guys pretty handily, while in the cutscenes Lara is still being all mopey about Sam's stupid camcorder.
Wait. Ludonarrative dissonance just means the stuff you do when playing that feels kind of weird when looked at in the context of a game being interactive?
Pretty much, yeah.
So, literally the setup and punchline of every other gaming webcomic. Like, haha, if RPG characters wrecked up people's houses looking for loot in real life, like in the games, people wouldn't take it very well. That's what all these people have been flapping their gums over?
Yep.
Jeez, is there any topic you video game people won't run into the ground?
Yeah. Diversity, social justice, or anything else actually important that might upset the status quo. That stuff they'd rather not talk about at all.
Anyway. The thing is, folks, I don't really buy into the idea that dissonance between the two levels of narrative being this huge problem for the entire medium. I mean, games are interactive. That's a fact of what they are. Games. So to an extent, there's always going to be a certain amount of dissonance just based on your awareness that you're controlling the progress of a story rather than watching it unfold. You usually hear the dissonance concept being floated alongside one of the other big buzzwords of modern gaming, particularly from developers who are trying to justify spending obscene amounts of money on the newest graphic and sound technology in a way that sounds less objectionable than the reality of, we need million-dollar graphic engines so that our trailers will look like movies and then maybe we can make Call of Duty numbers. And that buzzword is immersion. The argument goes something like this. The alleged point of ultra-realistic graphics, other than making impressive trailers, is to help the players better connect with the story by immersing them in it via realism. In other words, by making them forget that they're playing a game and feel more like they're really there within the story. In this scenario, ludonarrative dissonance, God, I really hate saying that, is harmful to the overall experience because it breaks that immersion. It makes a lot of sense, but the problem, or rather my problem, is that almost invariably trying to somehow bend gameplay consistently to match up with the concurrent narrative ends up undermining player agency, which is supposed to be the primary concern of most games. Yeah, sure, jumping back and forth over an NPC's head because I'm bored with their exposition makes the whole scenario look that much more absurd, but, well, it's a game. Being able to jump around like a goof because I want to is part of the reason I'm playing something instead of watching something. It's fun. Plus, there's a lot of things that break immersion more than Bluto-parroted Shimofini. Or, you know what I mean? Health bars, score numbers, stuff that unnaturally glows so you know it's important, pause buttons, that feeling of a controller in your hands while you play, the fact that you can look a few inches to the left or right and be reminded that you're just looking at a screen in your house and not an actual alien battlefield or whatnot. Look, immersion is a noble pie-in-the-sky ideal, but until we're actually playing games by climbing into the sensory depth tank and sticking a USB in the back of our heads, we're only going to get a semblance of it at best.
So you're saying complete immersion is still kind of a pipe dream?
Kind of. The thing is, I think when a lot of developers talk about immersion, they're not really describing what they think they're describing, you know?
What, like they should be using a different word in place of immersion?
Yeah.
What word, though?
Engagement. The word you're looking for is engagement.
Bingo. Engagement is what you want players to have with a game. Any game. You want the game to grab the player, get hold of their attention, and make them want to keep playing. And immersion is only one kind of engagement. The original arcade games were engaging, even in their primitive state, just by being new. Nobody got immersed in Pong or Pac-Man, they just couldn't believe they were causing stuff to happen on a video screen in real time. Some games engage us with a compelling story, or catchy theme song, or pretty girls, or pretty boys, or because they're challenging and we want to beat them just to say we did. The original Bowser was not an engaging villain because of rich, immersive backstory. You were engaged because the damn game really was fun, but really was that hard, and by the time you got to him, you just wanted to kick his ass on principle. That's engagement. And even if you do want to talk about immersion, I'd argue that gameplay narrative cohesion is not the most important element you need to be looking at for that. It's important, sure. I mean, you wouldn't make a comedy-flavored beat-em-up set in Dachau.
Oh god, now that I've said that, someone's going to make it.
Because while I agree that high-end graphics, cutting-edge sound, and commitments to certain types of realism are responsible for the success of certain modern mega-franchises, like Call of Duty or Madden or even GTA, I don't think immersion was the magical effect responsible. Madden, for example, doesn't immerse you in football. It doesn't simulate what it's actually like to play football or coach football or even just be on an NFL field. What does Madden simulate? It's right there in the title. Madden, as in John Madden, an NFL broadcaster. What Madden simulates is the experience of watching football broadcasts, i.e. the way the vast majority of fans experience the NFL, but with the added benefit of interactivity. As for Call of Duty, well, I don't think that really has anything to do with immersion either, at least not primarily. We've talked about this before. The original Call of Duty and Medal of Honor before it was popular because A, they were good games, and B, reminded people of Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers. Action movies with a veneer of quasi-realism and the benefit of taking place in an innately heroic World War II setting. Subsequently, the Modern Warfare series became popular not because of immersion, but because it offered Americans the chance to blow off post-9/11 steam in a version of the War on Terror where the bad guys were uncomplicated and victory was as easy as tapping the shoulder button. That's not immersion, folks, that's wish fulfillment. The realism is just there to make it feel deeper than it really is, so you feel less guilty about it.
So you're not against people talking about ludonarrative dissonance?
Don't even say it, please. I'm not against it. I'm just a little suspicious of any supposedly huge problem in game design where the big fix would be to continue making games more like movies or TV shows than they are games.
But is there a big fix?
Of course there is. There always has been.
Ooh, can I say it? Can I say it, please?
Yes. Yes, you may.
Make better games.
You know, there's a movie coming out soon that's making the rounds of the festival circuit that I think helps illustrate what we're talking about here. It's called I Declare War. The premise is that we're watching a group of kids play a war game over the course of a long day one summer. That's it. That's the whole movie. The hook, though, is that the movie shows us the game two ways. We see the reality where the kids are just running around the woodier part of their neighborhood fighting with sticks and water balloons, but we also see what the game looks like to their imaginations, i.e. the sticks become real guns, the balloons are grenades, and the battlefield looks like something out of Rambo, so we can see why they're so into it and what it looks like to them when they're having that much fun. It's a cute idea for a movie, kind of like a whole bunch of Calvin and Hobbes strips in live action, but I think it has something to teach here. This is how games, video or otherwise, can work in the best of scenarios. This is how kids play games, and it's not about immersion, it's about engagement. They're having so much fun, their minds are taking care of the immersion for them. When did we forget how to do that?
Fair enough. Look, OverThinker, I gotta go. I'll do what I can to make sure they treat your buddy fairly, but for now, just keep your own nose clean.
Yeah, alright, Commissioner.
So, what are we gonna do about RetroThinker, sir?
I don't know, Ivan. This time, I just don't know.